Hey guys, what's going on? So today we are taking a look at Lidica. I have some really cool gameplay to show you a little bit later. I have recorded over the weekend. So here she is. She was probably built slightly differently, probably with a little bit more effectiveness, maybe a bit less speed. But yeah, this is pretty much generally how she was built, kind of DPS-y, but with a lot of speed and a decent amount of effectiveness to make her skills work. So we can sort of do an overview of Lidica while we're here. Third skill, very powerful, decreases combat readiness by 100%. So that basically just sends them to the back of the line and decreases their speed for 2 turns. So they're going to have a harder time getting back to the front, as well as granting herself skill nullifier, which means the next attack she takes, she won't take any damage from it. Her second skill is also very nice, decreasing their hit chance. And since this is AoE, you can potentially decrease everyone's hit chance, making it very likely that they will miss, do less damage, and not give you any debuffs. So very nice as well. And her first skill, also very, very nice. More combat readiness decretion. I don't know if that's a word, but stick with me here. 20% if she is attacking a debuffed target, which is a lot for a basic skill. On the artifact, we have Song of Stars, high chance to target the enemy, which they will then take 15% more damage. Also, triggering the second effect of her first skill when she would hit them after giving them targeted, because targeted counts as a debuff, and she'll decrease their combat readiness by an additional 10%. So, very nice, very nice. Everything is very nice. She is purely combat readiness manipulation and very, very good at it, as well as potentially doing some damage. Although if you just want her purely for combat readiness manipulation, you probably want to build her more on the speedy effectiveness side, less on the attack, crit chance, crit damage. Mine currently is more based on speed and effectiveness. As you can see, 61 crit chance, no extra crit damage, a little bit of attack. So a little bit balanced. But yeah, most important thing by far is the effectiveness. If they're resisting, get more effectiveness. So let's take a look at some gameplay. We're going to be looking at floors 83 of Abyss, floor 85 of Abyss, and Hell Mode raid on one of the bosses. I forgot which one, but we'll see that later. So here we are at floor 83. This floor, let me just say, this floor, absolutely the worst thing I've ever done in anything ever in my entire life of gaming. This is the worst moment for me. This took me about 6 hours, countless tries, but eventually I got it. Probably just due to luck, but this stage is extremely heavily RNG. So we can sort of do like a mini little guide here for this floor as well, but it's basically just a showcase Lidica. But regardless, so what I started doing here is first destroying the crystal. This footage will probably be sped up significantly, so it'll kind of end by the time I'm done talking about it. So apologies if it doesn't really line up properly, but yeah, killing the crystal to start with, and then depending on how well you can sustain your team, either going straight for the boss after that, or killing those 2 minions. But when you kill the other minions, so these scary blue dudes, it'll increase the boss's combat readiness by 50%. There is so much crap in this stage, I don't even want to look at it anymore. I've seen this run so many times already. But as far as Lidica is concerned here, she is just amazing, because once I eventually kill those minions, then you would really want to decrease the boss's combat readiness, because when you're doing that, it'll take longer for it to get its ult off, which will summon another minion. And if those 2 blue dudes are already back, it'll summon the crystal again, and you really have to get rid of the crystal. So yeah, I believe that actually did happen later on in my run near the end of it. Somehow I managed to pull through. I remember it being very close, but I'm sure I can give most of the success of this run to Lidica for decreasing that boss's combat readiness. So yeah, I was just scrubbing through the video and I'm like at the end here. So when I'm watching it, again, it's going to be different, but it looks like Arky actually was the hero here. He got that last hit when all the minions were there, so that was really awesome. Thanks, Arky, for that. But yeah, crazy difficult floor. So unfortunately, I didn't record floor 84, but also Lidica wasn't a part of that. He was really hard as well, but I did the Kiris Crom Cruise cheese, and that worked pretty well. It was still very RNG, because even with like 100% effectiveness on Kiris, Roman maybe, whatever. Even with like 100% effectiveness, Roman would still resist poisons often, and once Roman started doing his AoEs, there's a lot of damage going on, and then he gives all the buffs to the Tower Nor guards, and then they are starting to do a lot of damage. I raised Angelica to 60 for this floor, and I think she was the saving grace here. All in all, 84 wasn't very difficult, but it did take a long time because of the RNG nature of landing the poisons that you need to before he starts going crazy doing his AoEs and all that. Combat readiness manipulation, of course, would have helped, as it pretty much helps everywhere, but Roman is water, and it's just a lot harder to land on waters. Floor 85. Floor 85 was a cakewalk, an absolute cakewalk. It's supposed to be hard, but it was so easy I did it on my first try. I did it on my first try while making some big mistakes because of Lidica. I give 100% credit to Lidica for floor 85. It's absolutely insane. Let's give it a watch. And it looks like this battle didn't even take very long, maybe 15 minutes. And you know, your boy Moga has to think a lot about every move. But regardless, this is the team I took. Angelica, Shadow Rose, Luna, and Lidica. God, Lidica is so awesome. There are a few interesting mechanics about this floor. So you see those two crystals there? Before Lidica starts doing anything, you need to destroy the yellow crystal. Because if you don't destroy this yellow crystal, Lidica cannot decrease Corvus's combat readiness. The dark crystal is for increasing your team's combat readiness. If you don't destroy the dark crystal, you can't increase your own. So we decided to not bother with killing the dark crystal, even though Shadow Rose can increase our team's combat readiness, but that would just take too much time, and it's more important that we can decrease Corvus's combat readiness because Lidica does that a lot better than Shadow Rose increases your team's. The main mistake I had here was not switching out Crom Cruise with Arky, because if I had done that, I could have killed that yellow crystal so much faster. The other very important mechanic in this stage is that after 10 turns, Corvus gets an attack increase, and after 20 turns, he gets a massive attack increase, which is why Lidica is so important here. If you can't kill him within 20 turns, you are dead, 100%. So like I said, basically for this floor, I just killed the yellow crystal and then focus on Dark Corvus. Again, this footage is going to be sped up a lot, so if you want to, you can just take a look at the combat readiness meter on the left side and see Dark Corvus just getting thrown back all the time after that crystal is destroyed, of course. Also, you can take note about how many times my units attack Corvus before Corvus attacks my units. That's the real power, or that's really the only power of combat readiness manipulation, of course. It's just that Lidica is a pro at this. So yeah, it actually didn't even take that long because like the first few minutes of the battle, I wasn't doing anything. I was over on the side checking Google, to read the mechanics of this boss, and it seems like he gets a 3,000% attack increase at turn 20. So again, it's like only a 50% attack increase at turn 10, and we were like pretty much at turn 10 by the time the crystal died. It's a very, very tanky crystal, but even so, since Lidica is so amazing, I know I've said it about 40 times already, that was enough time. Those like, you know, maybe 11, 12 actual Corvus turns were enough time to get rid of his 600,000 HP. So to be honest, I'm just kind of trying to stall for time here because I can only speed up the video up to 4 times speed without re-rendering it, and I will re-render it if it's totally necessary, but I'd prefer not to. Unfortunately, there's not really much else to say here. I wouldn't have any advice on how you can kill this guy without Lidica or some other amazing combat readiness manipulator. Maybe if you had Shuri in there, then you could get rid of the Dark Crystal and that might work as well. Or just a ton of DPS and ignore the crystals. Maybe that would work. But yeah, that's pretty much it for floor 85. And we're going to be moving on to one more piece of content here. I did happen to record what exactly my units had on during that floor, so you can see that here. Pause if it's a little bit too fast. There you can see Luna's stats. Moving on to Lidica there. You can see she is built slightly differently. She actually has less effectiveness than she has now. So I'm actually surprised that worked. 53% effectiveness. Shadow Rose built somewhat tanky, somewhat speedy. I don't think Shadow Rose was super necessary. She only decreased Corvus's combat readiness 25% like every 4 turns or something. And Angelica obviously built healerly. And finally, we got Hell Mode, Raid, Boss, Devourer, Hakan. This battle actually took less than 10 minutes, and basically he works the same way as the non-Hell Mode variant. Basically, you just gotta keep those spiders dead so that he won't have this immunity and extreme damage reduction. I think I used an Arky or 2 near the beginning to get rid of those spiders much faster, and that helped. Also, Lidica's AoE helped a bit. But yeah, again, since this boss's mechanics are so reliant on being fast, being able to slow down him via combat readiness reduction is so helpful because you only have a small window where he's actually vulnerable. After he casts his ultimate, and before it's ready again. Because after he casts his ultimate, you know, the spiders reappear, and you kind of have to spend some turns getting rid of those, or you can choose to go straight for the boss and then deal with the spiders later, you know. But whatever you do, there is still a very small window where you can actually deal damage to him, and Lidica makes that window so much bigger. This was also my first try on this Hell Mode boss. I hadn't even gotten to this boss previously because I died on the elite monsters getting to him. So that just goes to show Lidica is absolutely crazy. But yeah, again, I don't think there's too much left to say about this boss, so I'll probably just maybe, I don't know, put some tunes on if I haven't talked enough yet. And yeah, but that's, I guess, pretty much it. That was the run. We got a couple pieces of 88 gear, which are like my first pieces. So that was really cool, but they weren't very interesting. I think one was like a defense ring or something, which I mean can be useful for sure, but I prefer health. Honestly, I'm just happy I could kill the dude. So that was pretty much the Lidica showcase. I'm so happy I accidentally pulled her while going for a Daydream Joker. I almost never get the raid up heroes, and to get her, amazing. There are several I do regret not going harder for. Bellona, Diane, of course, Tamarin, obviously. Man, well, now that I have Angelica, I guess I can scoot by. But yeah, make sure to tell me what you think. I'm sure there are some important technical details I've left out of most of that stuff I just showed you. So if you want to, you can dig a little deeper on that in the comments down below. Basically, I just wanted to show what she can do in a pretty general simpleton sense, as someone called me on my last video because I admitted that I had no idea what Judge Kisa was doing. Hey man, I never said I was so hardcore. I mean, it would be smart, probably, to go into the journal and read everyone to see who's actually dangerous. But I'd rather farm up some more flatters for some 6 stars. Regardless, that'll do it for today. Make sure to drop a like if you did happen to enjoy. It's always greatly appreciated. Thanks, as always, for watching, and until next time.